Every home has a heartbeat, a rhythm that dictates the lives of those who dwell within its walls. For most of my life, I believed that the heartbeat of my home was simply the ticking of the old kitchen clock or the hum of the refrigerator. My mother, Sarah, was the kind of woman who moved through the world in almost total silence. She was a ghost in her own house, always working, always cleaning, always preparing. She was the one scrubbing the floors until they shone, mending my torn school clothes by the dim light of a lamp, and cooking meals that were simple but filling. I grew up thinking that this was just her job, the natural order of things. I never stopped to wonder what it cost her. I didn't realize that every chore was a declaration of love, every sacrifice a brick in the foundation of my future. I was too busy being young, too busy being selfish, and far too busy chasing dreams that I assumed would be easily handed to me. It happened on a rainy Tuesday, a day so gray and miserable that it felt like the world was holding its breath. I was cleaning out the attic, looking for some old university supplies I thought I'd lost. The attic was a graveyard of memories, filled with dust and the scent of damp wood. I pushed aside a heavy wooden trunk, and that's when I saw it. A small, dusty box tucked behind a support beam. I pulled it out, expecting old yearbooks or childhood toys. Instead, I found receipts, dozens of them. Every single one was dated back to the years I was in university, the years when I was living far away, constantly complaining that I didn't have enough money for parties or new clothes. There were notes scribbled on the back of bank statements in her shaky handwriting, for his tuition, or for his winter coat, or for his bus fare. My stomach dropped. I remembered those years with a sudden, sickening clarity. I remembered calling her and complaining that she never bought herself anything new. I told her she was boring, that she didn't know how to live, that she was wasting her life in that small house. I had been so blind. The silence in the attic felt heavy, like a physical weight pressing against my chest, making it hard to breathe. As I sifted through the papers, I realized that for 4 years, she had been working 2 jobs to keep me afloat while I had been busy judging her for not having the luxuries I thought I deserved. I walked downstairs, the box heavy in my arms, my heart feeling as though it might shatter into 1,000 pieces. She was in the kitchen, just like always, wiping the counter with a cloth that was frayed at the edges. She looked up when I entered, and that familiar, tired smile touched her eyes, the smile I had spent years ignoring. "You found the old pictures, didn't you?" Her voice was thin, but steady, like the steady beat of a drum. I didn't say a word. I just set the box on the table and opened it. I pointed to the receipts, my hand shaking. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, my voice cracking under the weight of my shame. "Why did you let me treat you like that while you were dying for me?" She didn't look away. She didn't try to hide it. She walked over to me, her movements slow and deliberate, and she touched my face, the same way she did when I was a child before the world made me cynical. "Because," she whispered, her eyes brimming with a truth that transcended pain, "a mother doesn't want her son to see the price of his wings. She only wants to see him fly. I didn't work for your gratitude, and I didn't work for your recognition. I worked so that you would never have to know the hunger or the cold that I have known all my life." That was the moment my entire world shifted. I saw her not as a parent, not as a provider, but as a person, a hero who had spent her life invisible, just so I could be seen. I realized then that my success was built on her exhaustion. She started to cry, and it was the most devastating sound. It wasn't the loud, messy crying of someone in pain, but the quiet, shaking release of someone who had been holding on to a secret for too long. I hugged her, really hugged her, for the first time in a decade. I buried my face in her shoulder and wept, not for the money or the things I'd had, but for the time I'd wasted not knowing her. We stood there in the center of that small kitchen, surrounded by the ghosts of the sacrifices she made. It wasn't about the money. It was about the realization that her life had been poured into mine, drop by drop, like water into a thirsty glass. The realization that love is not a feeling, it is an action, a relentless, quiet, often invisible action that sustains the people we care about. We spent the rest of the evening looking through the rest of the box, talking for hours about things we had ignored for years. Not as mother and son, but as two people who finally understood the depth of the road they had traveled together. If you have a mother like this, don't wait for a rainy Tuesday in the attic to tell her you see her. Tell her today. Tell her while she is still here, while she can still hear the words, and while she can still feel the warmth of your embrace. Because her love is the quietest thing in the world, and it deserves to be heard, acknowledged, and cherished more than anything else in your life. Don't let your own pursuit of the future blind you to the foundation it is built upon. Look at her, truly look at her, and recognize the hero that has been standing right in front of you all along. Your success means nothing if you don't take a moment to